40 acres and a mule. Let's talk about it. Has it been replaced? Have other people benefited from the 40 acres and a mule? Have we been sold out as a black race by our congressional leaders, the Black Caucus, the Boule, and other representatives that represent the black community? Let's talk about it. But first, let's talk about what does the 40 acres and a mule mean. It's a phrase that refers to a promise made to formerly enslaved African Americans after the Civil War. The promise has to provide land and resources to help them become economically independent. The phrase comes from a Special Field Orders number 15, which was issued by Union General William Tecumseh Sherman in 1865. The promise was intended to compensate for unpaid labor during slavery. The promise was undermined by political resistance and economic challenges during Reconstruction. The phrase symbolizes the ongoing struggle for reparations and economic justice for descendants of slaves. The phrase is also used to draw attention to the historic injustice that still impacts racial and economic disparities today. So when I say, have we been sold out by our leaders? I believe we have, and that's in my opinion. How, you may say? Well, for example, I live in California, and our representative is Maxine Waters. Yes, the one that has been seen screaming at the Department of Education, the security officers, when they got locked out of the Department of Education building. The same one that's been yelling outside, protesting the audit of government programs. Her district is in the center in the southern part of Los Angeles County and includes portions of the cities of Los Angeles and Torrance. Now, if you have not been to Los Angeles has 1 million, maybe more than that, of homeless people. I mean, they have a district just based on the homeless people. And you don't even want to go down there because you might catch something. There is always some type of protest down there. I just say LA has been a corrupt place. But when I say just her district, we have also Al Green. His district's in Texas, in the 9th Ward. His district is a mess as well. We have a lot of our black representatives that have done nothing for their districts and their people, but they are very wealthy. They're screaming about being audited, the federal government being audited. But how does someone that stays in office 20, 30, 40, 50 years and do nothing for their own people? How does somebody make a salary of $174,000, but they're worth over $250 million? And why are they screaming so loud? This tells me the ones that are screaming the loudest are the ones that are caught up in the corruption. And I believe that they sold us out, according to my opinion, and according to what's been on the laws for the Civil Rights Acts. They sold us out for welfare. They sold us out for a lot of equalities and not being separate. When Yahuwah told us in his word that we were supposed to be a separate people because we were chosen to be separate. He told us that he was supposed to be our king. He said that we were supposed to be the nation that other nation would watch and see how we were living so their hearts could turn to him. But we have allowed our leaders that are corrupt for their own special gains. We have the Black Caucus. What have they done for the black community? We had a black president. What did he do for our black community? I mean, Chicago's still a mess. We have so many corrupt leaders. And when I talk about us, I'm talking about the ones that are screaming the loudest. And they're not only just coming from the government, they're coming from the church. You have pastors and preachers. You have gospel singers that represent unholiness, unrighteousness. You have athletes. You have different celebrities that are just blaspheming Yahuwah. And you have women that all they do is scream and yell all on these on the social media. And you got these men that don't want to take on any kind of accountability. They don't want to be providers. They don't want to serve Yahuwah. They don't want to do anything. They don't even want to be men. And so you have men just wanting to be with a man. You have women just want to be with a woman. Or you just have them just being on the DL. You have them just, they don't even know what they want to do. They're a mess. But I'm saying the 40 acres and a mule that was promised to the descendants of slaves, I believe it has been already taken and given to these corrupt black leaders like Al Sharpton, Maxine Waters, all of them guys, the Black Bule, the sororities, the welfare system, DEI, the LGBT community. Everything has been given to these people and has not given to the people that should have it. And the ones that are still screaming the loudest, they're the wealthiest ones. And I'm hoping that this audit will not only expose who is the most corrupt, but I just pray that Yahuwah removes every corrupt person, regardless if they're in government, if they're in school, if they're in the police, if they're in the hospitals, if wherever they're at, in the corporate offices, because that's pure corrupt. When I see how much the taxpayers' money has been given to all these different projects, and I'm still scratching my head. I don't understand how the United States is using the taxpayers' money to give money to other countries. And you have your own American citizens that are unemployed, they're facing layoffs, they're facing evictions out of their apartments, their homes are being foreclosed on. The grocery prices have risen, gas prices of the car has risen. There's no benefits for the American citizens because they're all giving it to people that are not citizens of the United States. And if you don't see the wickedness that is going on, then you're completely blind to the mind of truth. Or you're part of the wickedness that is happening. It just makes my skin burn when I see our black leaders screaming and hollering for what's happening in their government, but they're doing nothing for their people. They're doing nothing for their people. And if you support any of these people that are in office that are part of that corrupt system, then you need to evaluate your own life. And you need to repent right now, because Yahuwah, he's passing judgment, and he is exposing, and he's ripping off that Band-Aid, and he's going to be showing who people really are. Are you ready?